Susan Hamilton here, Chief Executive Officer at Offbeat Business Media, Program Director for OBBM Radio Dallas, and I just left you a message about your gifts and your talents and how important it is to distinguish between the two and why on earth you have them. And as I did that, I'm recognizing that my eyes on my camera were going to the wrong button, and that's fine because I do have a follow-up video for you, and I can do this better because that's called skills development, right? And all of us have it, and it's important for you to see that progression means every once in a while you're going to do things wrong, and I really get tired of seeing people say, oh, well, I'm going to screw that up, so they don't do anything. And I hope I always inspire you to take that next step and to do the next thing. But I realized as I was watching the last video that there's an aspect of that message that I'm glad I didn't add. I'm glad I'm adding a second one because that would have gotten too long. But when we're talking about there being a very real evil out there and you being created specifically to deal with those things, there's a question mark that ought to rise up in you, and that question mark ought to be, why? Why on earth would the Lord put human beings on this planet to recreate heaven and to keep evil out of it? What on earth is that all about, if in fact those things are true? And I wanted to encourage you with this thought. This is eternity training, darlings. What you're doing here is making is going through the education, because at some point the next life will be what you're living, and that next life is eternity, and it is endless and is infinite, and the things that you're going to have to learn and understand to do it well, they're bigger than we can possibly understand at this point. And it's going to take a glorified body to even experience that. I mean, the things that are going to have to change between now and then are fabulous. But when you wonder, why on earth did God do this when He's got all these planets out there and things that if you're not a Jesus follower, you can look at this stuff and go, yeah, I don't know. And I have to tell you, there's even a lot of Jesus followers that don't quite believe the Bible because it seems so fantastic. But I just wanted to point out that this is eternity training. This is teaching you how to rise up, solve problems, create, trust one only, take dominion, and ward off evil. This is how it's done. And you get to experience this, you get to practice this right here on earth. And I hope that gives you a little bit of excitement and helps you to stand up. In my earlier video, I talked about the difference in our position when we're holding up our shield of faith and how we can't be scared and worried as we're holding it up. We're supposed to be holding it up like this. We hold it up over all because it quenches every fiery dart of the enemy. Now, why on earth would He have told us we could do that? Why would He tell us that He always causes us to triumph? Do you really think it's just in this next life? Well, it's not. He's talking about if we trust Him today with everything, and we don't make money our God, that we spend all our time thinking about what we don't have and praying about what we don't have, but rather recognizing what we do have in the Father, recognizing what we do have in Jesus Christ, that there's all things are possible indeed to she who believes. That's not kidding. We'll be ready for eternity one day. It's going to take a lot of change, and we're not ready for it yet. But as we learn how to protect and guard those things He gave us, right? If we're following Jesus as the standard, if we are imitators of Jesus Christ, well, that's what He told God the Father in the garden. He says, "I protected and guarded those you gave me." He says, "I gave them the word and they received it." Well, that's what we do on this earth. That's why He said, go make disciples. He wasn't saying go tell everybody what's right and wrong in their life. That's not what it means to go make disciples. What it means is teach them how good God is. Teach them how good the Father is. Baptize them in my name. Help them to be reborn, because it's important. They're going to have to be reborn. First we're reborn in our spirit, and one day we'll be reborn in our body. And it's a fabulous time to get to be encouraged, which that's what the Holy Spirit is, to be encouraged as we execute the things in our day-to-day life with joy. Joy of the Lord is your strength. And with ability, because He always causes you to prosper. So step out in your gifts, And if you have any questions about that, know that I work with people on a regular basis helping them unearth their gifts, because a lot of people don't understand what they are. And I'll give you this little hint. What are those things that make you cry, and what are those things that make your heart sing? Those two things, when they are married, are going to turn into something that you already have a talent for. Develop that skill, and you will be able to address that. And you'll be able to address it specifically when you are using it to support the body, when you're using it to serve the body. That means all of us. That doesn't mean just keeping it to ourselves. That's not what that means. That's not what Jesus ever did. Everywhere he went, he said, I will. He healed everyone. He never said, oh, it's too big for me, it's too hard for me, no, your kid's too messed up, no, you're blind, forget it. Leprosy, he never did that. He said, okay, I will, be it done unto you as your faith. So our job then is to work together, releasing our faith, releasing our words, in walking in love, seeing and addressing those issues out there that seem too big for us. Of course they are. They're his issues. But he's looking at our eyes, and he's listening with our ears, and he is our hands and feet. And the government is on his shoulders, and that means it's on the body, and the body's been left here on this earth to get those things done. But the reason is, this is about eternity training, and our Father in heaven wants a family, and he is getting us ready for those moments when we're going to be experiencing for eternity this great opportunity to know each other. All those people in your life that you wish you had time to get to know better, don't even sweat it. That's what eternity's for. You're going to get to know them. You're going to be able to have those conversations. But right now, this very minute, the enemy knows that your life is something special, knows your kid's life is something special, knows that you got a special bloodline, that you have DNA inside of you right now that's from the Father. And so he wants that down. He wants to start breaking away and chipping away your confidence and your belief in him. The very same thing he did to Adam and Eve in the garden. Didn't God say, you want to be like God? When in fact they were already made in his image and likeness. They were already given dominion. They were already given authority. And when God walked through the garden and said, hey, where are you? He wasn't talking about, oh, I can't see you. Of course he could. He was talking about, where are you as far as your authority went? He recognized that they had given away their authority. So Jesus brought all that back. Let's get out there and get this done and be ready for all the wonderful things that we have in store for us. And meanwhile, let's start seeing the elements of heaven, that his will on earth as it is in heaven, right here, right now. Jesus would never have told us that's how you pray if that wasn't his will to do so. Until next time, Susan Hamilton, Offbeat Business Media.